Hi, I'm Bonnie Barker with BonnieBCrochet.com, and today I'd like to show you how to make the Ripple Granny Square scarf. Before we go into the directions, I'd like to ask you to please hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the new offerings that I have coming your way. Well, come on, let me show you how to make this. For this project, I'm going to be using one skein each of the Eco Bamboo by Nurturing Fibers. And let me show you the names that I'm using. I'm using one of Savannah and one of Willow. And here are the stats on this yarn. This is 100% bamboo viscose, and my goodness, it does feel even nicer than it looks. And let's see, the number of, here we go, the number of meters. It's 125 meters in each, and this is 4-ply. It feels kind of like the US number 2. And this is 50 grams of each. So, and what else are we going to need? I am recommending that you use a size G or 6 or 4.00 millimeter crochet hook. And I'm also recommending that you have a yarn needle handy and a pair of scissors. Okay, let's go ahead and start. We're going to begin by working a slip knot in our yarn. And I'm going to have you work a foundation chain of 26 chains. After working those 26 chains, we are going to begin row 1 in the second chain from the hook. We are going to work a single crochet in that second chain and work a single crochet in each chain all the way across the row. When you complete this row, you should have a total of 25 single crochets. This is what you should have after completing row 1. You should have 25 single crochets. Okay, now we are going to turn and we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip the first 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to crochet 3 double crochets in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to do that. Actually, we're going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then we're going to crochet 3 double crochets into the next stitch. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do this one more time. Skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to double crochet 3 into the next stitch. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to crochet 3 double crochets. We're going to do a little bit more in this stitch. We're going to actually make a corner. But first, we start off with 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets, all in that same place. This is making the peak or the corner of our chevron. Okay, let's stop and take a look at that. So we have 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in that same space. Now we're going to go down the hill, skip the next 2 stitches, and in that next single crochet we're going to work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to skip 2 more stitches and then work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Let's stop and see what we have so far. And then we're going to skip 2 more. 1, 2. And in that third single crochet, we're going to work 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to skip the next 2 stitches. And in the last stitch, we're going to work, if I can get through both loops there. There we go. Just trying to get those 2 loops. we're going to just put 1 double crochet in that last stitch, and let's take a look at what we have here. This is what you should have after row number 2. Okay, row number 3, this is pretty much what we're going to repeat from here on out. Chain 3, and we're going to start in the first opening right here. We're going to skip the first 4 double crochets, and we're going to work 3 double crochet cluster right in between those 2 other double crochet clusters, and give you a clear view of what this looks like. Okay, then we're going to skip the next 3 double crochets, and working in this next space we work 3 double crochets. I am going to be working these a little faster. I hope you don't mind. If you need to ever slow me down, if you look down here on your computer, there's a little gear you click, and if you it should bring up a menu to select replay speed, and you can slow this down. On your cell phone, right up around here, there are 3 little dots in a line, dot, dot, dot. If you click on that, the replay speed should also come up as an option, and then you can always slow me down. Okay, so now we come to the next hole here. We skip these 3 double crochets, and we work 3 double crochets in the next space. Now we've come to the corner, the chain 2 space. We're going to skip these 3 double crochets, and we're going to work a corner, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 more double crochets, all worked in that chain 2 space. Okay, now we're going to go down the hill, skip the next 3 double crochets in between those 2 clusters of double crochets of the previous row, skip the next 3, and work 3 double crochets in the next space, skip the next 3, and 3 double crochets in that next space, and you get to the last space here. Just work 1 double crochet, and I'm just going right into the that big hole there. I'm not connecting it to any specific chain. Just go into the entire chain. I think this makes the project have more integrity and be stronger, so that you're not just pulling on one little thread. Okay, so this is what you should have after 3 rows. Now we're ready to begin row 4, which is a repeat of row number 3. We're going to chain 3, and actually each row from this point on is going to be exactly the same as what we just did in the last row. Now the only difference would be if you're deciding to change the yarn color, which I'm going to do in 2 more rows. Okay, so we skip the first 4 stitches, and then we work in that first space that's actually in between the 3 double crochet clusters. 3 double crochets there, skip the next 3 stitches, 3 double crochets inside that next space, skip the 3 double crochets, and 3 double crochets in the next space. Okay, now we come to the corner, and remember what to do here. 3 double crochets, and then you're going to want to chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets worked all in that same place. Okay, 3, skip the next 3, going downhill here. 3 double crochets worked in that space, skip the next 3 double crochets. This is a really nice relaxing pattern because you don't really have to, it's not real strong on having to concentrate your eyes, because you can really feel where the stitches are going. And for me personally, this is a very relaxing project. It gives me a nice break from the more complicated ones that require more concentration. Now when we get to the last space here where the turning chain is, we just work 1 double crochet. And as you see, the sides should be nice and straight, and you should have that chevron already solidly in place. Let's go ahead and work one more row, chain 3. Okay, now this again is just a repeat of row number 3. Skip the first 4 stitches and then double crochet in between those 2 clusters, working 3 double crochets there. Skip the next 3 stitches. Whoops, let's try that stitch again. 3 double crochets in the next place. Skip the next 3 double crochets, work 3 double crochets in that next hole. And I think you're really going to enjoy this too, especially with this particular yarn. It's really, really nice and satiny, feels great. It's going to be cool to the neck. It's not going to make you sweat or anything. Anyway, so now we've come to the corner. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 more double crochets in that chain 2 space. Let's just pause and take a look at that, because that is where the mistakes are going to be. If you kind of forget to make a corner here, you know, that may be the source of, you know, ripping out some stitches later on. So you want to make sure that we're paying attention when we come to that peak. Okay, skip the next 3 stitches, 3 double crochets. I also think this is an excellent project for a beginner, and I think it's really cool. You know, depending on the yarn you use, you can make several of these and have just a bunch of, you know, different colors to choose from to wear with your wardrobe. And depending on the colors you select, you know, you can wear them pretty much any season of the year. And I really like this bamboo because it's being a natural, you know, cottony kind of a fiber. I have more things to choose from for the summer, because it seems like finding something to wear that's crocheted in the summer months is a little more challenging than when the cold weather gets here, because I've got boxes and boxes of crochet stuff for that, but not so much on the scarves and cotton tops. Okay, so we get to the last space here where the turning chain is, and we just work 1 double crochet. Now I'm not going to complete this stitch because I'm going to show you how I'm going to join this yarn. Okay, now that I've got the Savannah color, it has little hints of the green in this yarn, and I just love the browns, and you know, I think it's going to be a nice earthy kind of a color to wear. Okay, so instead of completing that last double crochet, let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just pull the yarn through like this to complete that double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and tie this. Yes, I'm one of those that likes to put knots in the work. Make sure I have a nice long strand here. Because of the slipperiness of this bamboo, I do not trust these strands to be hidden without a knot. So I'm going to see how let me go ahead and do this again. See how I just hold these 2 together, and I'm just going to tie 1 knot, and this will hold them. And I'm going to make sure I put this as close to the work as possible, just like this. And in case you're wondering how in the world this is ever going to be hidden, have no fear. This yarn actually hides these very well, and I will show you how to hide these in a bit in the project, a little further down the road. But anyway, so I've joined my new color of yarn, and now I am just going to crochet 4 rows, just like I did rows 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm just going to crochet 4 more rows in this color, and then I'm going to alternate back to green. I'm going to go back and forth, back and forth. So let's just go ahead and work 1 row with this. Remember, we skipped the first 4 stitches, and then we're going to work our 3 double crochets. You can already see the green color coming in, which is really kind of nice. Skip the next 3 and 3 double crochets in the next space. Skip the next 3 double crochets in that next space. Again, this is just a simple double crochet. If I'm not trying to scare you with the speed here, this is just my normal way of doing things. If you don't know how to do a double crochet, by all means check out some of my beginning videos that I have on my Bonnie Bay Crochet YouTube channel. Now we get to our corner and we work 3 double crochets chain 2. I see some more green coming in here, and then 3 more double crochets. Skip the next 3. 3 double crochets in that next space. Skip the next 3. And then we're going to work 3 double crochets in this next, whoops, a little too fast there. That next space. Skip the next 3. 3 double crochets in that next space. Let's try those again. I didn't finish that one loop. See, I do it too sometimes. And after we get to that turning chain, just put 1 double crochet, and then we're going to turn. And look at some of those colors, the way they're coming out. I just really, really enjoy this. I'm going to go ahead and work 3 more rows, and then I'll show you what I have, and I will show you the color change. Okay, at the end of the 4th row of this contrasting color, I'm going to do just part of my double crochet, and just like we did before, I'm going to bring in the color that I'm changing back to complete that double crochet, and then I'm going to do my chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to deal with these colors here so this doesn't come apart on me. I'm going to go ahead and drop the hook there, and I'm going to cut a nice generous thread, and just like I did before, I'm going to tie a little knot here. Okay, just a simple knot like this, and notice I'm just gently holding it close to my work, and then give that a nice little pull. This is, again, really slippery yarn. It makes it delightful in many ways, but I do not trust it to just to not use knots and to just hide it within my work. I think a knot is going to be more prudent. Now let me show you real quickly just how easy these knots are going to be hidden. And you're getting a real close-up view here. I promise you, if you're wearing this scarf, these things are going to totally disappear. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up here. I'm going to try to hide this inside my work. Okay, I'm going to pull on that a little bit. Okay, the knot is effectually hidden at this point. I'm going to come down into that stitch here, and then I'm just going to run it underneath these 3 stitches just like this. I'm going to pull back on it so that no extra yarn is hidden, and then I'm going to very carefully cut this close to my work, but make sure you don't cut your stitches. And let me show you that. See there? Look at that. The knot is gone. You're not going to be able to see it from any side. So that is another reason why I like to use the knots. I think it's a lot more secure. So what I'm going to do from this point on is I am going to go back and forth, working 4 rows of the double crochet clusters with the green, and then 4 with the Savannah color, just back and forth, back and forth. And by alternating the yarn, it's actually going to help pronounce that chevron. If you use just a solid color of yarn, you're not going to be able to see the chevron very well. It's not going to be defined at all, really. So by switching up yarn colors is really the way to go. Now, if you have a lot of size 2 cotton style yarn in your stash you wanted to use up, and you have a lot of different colors that you think would look good together, give it a try. You could probably throw those together as well. For those of you who are interested in this Nurturing Fibers yarn, which I really am enjoying, I think it's really economically priced too. For those of you on a budget, I totally know what that's like. They have quite a selection of colors. I'm only showing you a couple here. Let's see, these colors I'm going to be using in another project very soon called Raindrops and Adventurine. And again, if you go to their website at goodloops.com, they have many other colors you can look at. So anyway, if you want to check them out, please tell them Bonnie sent you. And I'm going to go ahead and continue working on this scarf, and then I will show you what I have as soon as I finish using up the bulk of this yarn. After repeating those 4 rows in the various colors, I should have 10 of the variegated yarn and 10 of the 4-row repeats of the solid color yarn. And let me show you what I have. As you can see, I have a lot of strands to hide, and I do have a little bit of blocking to do with the sides, but I think that will block out nicely. So let me just show you here what I have. So now what we're going to do is we need to put the sides flat against each other to make sure that neither side is twisted. And we're going to actually connect the ends just like this so that it's kind of a seamless connection. Well, there is going to be a seam, but I want the seam to show as little as possible. Now, because of this, I'm actually going to stitch this using my needle here, my yarn needle. I have tried slip stitching it, and that is a possibility, but honestly, I wasn't really happy. The seam was just a little too pronounced in my opinion. So I'm going to try using a slip stitch in order to do this. So let me go ahead and get this end here ready. This was the last double crochet that I worked. I'm going to go ahead and give that a chain, and I'm going to pull it tightly. Now I'm going to take a generous strand. Let's see, let's try about 18 inches. That should do plenty. And I'm going to give that a cut. So now I need to thread my needle very carefully. And let me go ahead and actually I don't need to thread the needle. And this is why I have not pulled this thread through. So let's go ahead and pull this thread all the way through so that it is knotted. Now we're ready to thread that needle. And put it right through like that. It's kind of important that we make sure that both sides, we make sure that it is flat against itself. Yes, that works. Okay. And so now this is kind of weird because if you hold it like this, the sides definitely don't line up. So we're going to have to, because it's that angle, we're going to have to hold it from the beginning point here, and again we're going to be lining it up. There we go. And the center should come right to this point here. So we may have to kind of work with this a bit. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and start right here. Let's go ahead and start there because I think this is okay, right here, the first stitch. Okay, I'm going to have to hold this strand back. Okay, so we're going to try to line these up stitch by stitch, and one end is actually going to be a little bit tighter because it was the round, or I'm sorry, the row worked with the single crochets, that they just tend to be a little bit tighter than a row of double crochets like we've made them, but that's going to be okay because we're going to line these up and I think it's going to work out fine. So let me just show you. This is the I guess you call it the whip stitch, where you're just going around in a simple way. Nothing fancy about this sewing skill. We just want to make sure that we're lining these stitches up. So I'm going to go ahead and do this until I get to that corner section. Now that I've gotten to the corner section, I'm going to go ahead and reuse this section here 2 times, just for those 2 stitches there. And then I'm going to continue on with the double crochets. As you can see, now we're going to be lining this section up. These chevrons are a little bit tricky and sewing them together, but as long as you know where you're going and you know what you aim to do, I think it should be fine.
So I'm just lining them up carefully. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this until I get to the end, and then I'll show you how to fasten this off. So this has worked out very well. So I have the last stitch. Just kind of work it right there through that chain, and I'm actually going to do another one just to make sure that this doesn't go anywhere. I'm going to actually work it into a couple of the chains there. There we go. And then I'm going to fasten this off. I'm going to actually kind of work it in to one of the other stitches here. Okay, and then I'm actually going to hide, I'm going to go down into some of these stitches down here to hide the loose strand before I trim it. So I'm going to just run it under some of these stitches here, and then go down into the next double crochets, the next row down. You can hide these loose strands however you'd like, but I just like these to be really, really hidden away so they don't pop out again. All right, so that should be pretty well hidden. And give it a little clip. Make sure you don't clip your work. And this actually does not look bad at all. Okay, from a distance, you're not even going to see this. And the best part about this is you don't feel it, okay? From that side, you can't even see that. And it really doesn't look that different from the other section of the scarf. And trust me, this does work a lot better than the single crochet, or rather the slip stitch connecting. But if you want to do it with the slip stitch, you're welcome to do it that way. Just know that there's going to be a little bit more of a bump where those are joined. Now I'm going to show you how I like to hide some of these other strands. I've actually been hiding them 2 at a time. I think it helps to, hide this knot. So I'm going to pull this one up like this, and you can see that just about hides the knot completely. And then if I come down into the stitch, well, it helps if all of the strands come with you. Let me try that one again. This yarn is very wonderful. It's going to feel great against the skin. But right now, when you're hiding these loose strands, it's very slippery just because it is bamboo, which is a fabulous fiber to work with. Again, it is very slippery. So that's what you're seeing before your eyes there. So I'm going to go ahead and hide this under these 3 strands here. And I think that's going to be plenty to hide these loose ends. And just see how the knot pretty much disappeared. Let's see, the camera's having focal problems again. Okay, there we go. And then clip the strands very carefully.
Well, I hope you enjoyed learning how to make the Ripple Granny Square Scarf. Now, if you have any curling along the edges like I did, it's a simple procedure to just take them out. If you have a handheld little steamer, and just holding it up, against the edges and steaming them out, they would fall right out and be nice and flat like you see here. If you don't own a steamer, you can get the scarf slightly damp, and don't wring or twist it though. And then just put it inside a clean, dry towel to pat it dry and just let it lay flat. And if, I don't even think you're going to need to really block it very much, but, if you get it wet and then let it dry flat, it should be fine. Okay, if you have any questions or comments, please comment below, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button or even the little bell to get the alerts to new videos. Please hit that. And as always, just wish you God's blessings. Take care. Bye-bye.